My name is Annabelle Michael. I'm 31 years old. Last Thanksgiving, right in front of the entire family, my father looked straight at me and said, "Annabelle, get out of this house. Tonight is for real family, not someone like you." The words hit me like a slap. I stood up, humiliated, ready to leave. That's when my husband slowly raised his glass, his voice ice cold, and said, "Before she goes, let's toast the woman who made tonight possible." The sound of my mother's wine glass shattering on the floor echoed through the room. My father's face drained of all color, because in that moment they realized James wasn't just defending me. He knew everything, and he was about to burn their perfect family lie to the ground. This is the night they lost a daughter, and they never saw it coming. Before I take you back to how we got here, if this story is already making your blood boil, hit that like button right now. And let me know in the comments. Have you ever been publicly humiliated by your own parents and told you're not real family? Drop your answer below and tell me where you're watching from. I read every comment, but to understand how we got there, you need to know who I've always been to them. I was 7 years old the first time I understood the difference between me and my sister. Halloween. Olivia got the Princess Jasmine costume. Brand new. $60 from the Disney store. I got a nurse's outfit from Goodwill. It still had the previous kid's name written in Sharpie on the tag inside. Madison, in faded blue letters. My mother smiled when she handed it to me. "You love helping people anyway, Annabelle. It's perfect for you." I wore it, trick-or-treating while Olivia sparkled. I kept that costume, wore it again for career day in 5th grade. Everyone said I'd make a great nurse someday. Nobody asked what I wanted to be. The pattern was set. Olivia was the pretty one, the shining star, the daughter they showed off. I was the capable one, the responsible one, the one who would figure it out. College made it concrete. I was 18, filling out financial aid forms at the kitchen table. Dad sat me down. "Olivia needs our help more than you do. She's not as independent." I said I needed help too. Student loans were crushing. He patted my hand. "But you'll be fine without it." She won't. Olivia got full funding for private university. $280,000 over 4 years. Tuition, room, board, spending money, everything. I took out $95,000 in loans for state school. I'm still paying them off. $340 a month. I'll finish in 2027. I graduated with debt. Olivia graduated with Instagram followers and zero financial stress. Guess which one they bragged about? My wedding made it worse. I was 28. Marrying James. We'd been together since 2019. He was a pediatric surgeon at Boston Children's Hospital. Smart. Kind. The first person who ever really saw me. 2 weeks before the wedding, Mom handed me a check. $3,000. "It's what we can afford," she said. I'd seen the wedding binder on her desk a month earlier. Olivia's engagement had just fallen apart, but the planning was still there. Venue, 12,000. Catering, 18,000. Photography, 8,000. Total circled at the bottom in Mom's handwriting, $45,000. The engagement ended 3 months after I saw that binder. Olivia kept the ring. Mom never mentioned the $12,000 she'd already spent on deposits. I bought my dress at David's Bridal, $400, clearance rack. James told me I looked beautiful. I cried in that dress, not because it was cheap, because they'd shown me exactly who they were, and I'd still hoped for something different. But the real pattern, the one that would eventually break me, was this. Every time I achieved something, it disappeared. Every time Olivia did anything, it became a celebration. I called them when I got promoted to RN coordinator at Mass General. $85,000 salary, 7 years of work. real responsibility. Mom said, "That's nice, honey. Did you see Olivia's latest post? She got a skincare brand partnership. 28,000 followers now." I'd coded a patient that morning, brought them back from the edge of death, literally saved a life. I hung up. James said it perfectly one night after another family dinner where I was invisible. "They're erasing you," I said. "They're my parents." He said, "Exactly." I didn't understand what he meant. Not then. I told myself it would be different when they really needed me, when the situation was serious enough that they'd have to see me, have to acknowledge what I could do, who I was. February 8th, 2024, proved me right, and completely wrong. The call came at 6:43 in the morning. I was getting ready for work. My phone buzzed. "Mom Mobile." Too early. My stomach dropped before I even answered. "Your father collapsed." Her voice was shaking, barely controlled panic. "They're saying stroke. Mass General. Annabelle, I don't understand what they're telling me. Please come." The coffee mug in my hand, ceramic, blue, "World's Okayest Nurse" printed on it, hit the kitchen tile, brown liquid spreading across the floor toward the rug. I ran, still in my scrubs from the night shift. James calling after me. I didn't hear him. All I heard was the sound in my head, the long, flat beep of a monitor when you're losing them. I made it to Mass General in 12 minutes. Found Mom in the emergency department. Dad on a gurney. Gray. Left side of his body completely limp. His face sagging on one side like melted wax. He tried to say my name. It came out, "Anna." And then nothing. His left arm hung useless off the side of the bed. I'm a nurse. I knew exactly what NIHSS 18 meant. Severe, life-altering, maybe fatal. The neurologist pulled me aside, not my mother, me. "You're the medical professional in the family?" I nodded. Couldn't speak yet. "Good. I need to talk to you about his options. He doesn't have many." Dr. Andrew Callahan. I knew him from church. He'd known our family for 15 years. He looked tired. Looked at me like he was about to deliver the worst news I'd ever heard. "Your father's had a severe ischemic stroke. Right hemisphere. NIHSS, score of 18. That's bad, Annabelle. Really bad." Mom stood behind me, silent, frozen. "Without intervention, he'll likely have permanent left side paralysis, severe speech impairment, need 24-hour care. Standard treatment gives him maybe 40 to 50% recovery, at best." He paused. Let me process. "There's an experimental endovascular protocol. New, aggressive. If it works, he could get 80 to 85% function back. Walk again, talk again, be himself." I heard the "but" coming. "But insurance won't cover it. It's experimental. And it's expensive. $240,000. Out of pocket." Mom made a sound. Small. Broken. Dr. Callahan looked at both of us. "Patricia, you're his wife. Legally, you make the decision. But this is complex. Medical. High risk." He turned to me. "Annabelle, you understand this better than anyone here. What do you think?" The room felt too bright, too loud, too real. "How long do we have to decide?" 90 seconds, maybe less. The window for intervention closes fast with strokes. Mom grabbed my hand. "I don't know what to do. You understand this. Please. What should we do?" I looked at my father. Gray face, drooling, left side dead. This man who'd never really seen me, who'd given everything to my sister, who'd handed me a $3,000 check 2 weeks before my wedding while sitting on a $45,000 budget for Olivia's canceled engagement. I looked at the consent form in Dr. Callahan's hand. I thought about my house down payment, 7 years of saving, $135,000. My future, mine and James's. I thought about the phrase, 24-hour care and what that meant, what his life would look like, what mom's would look like. I made the choice in 4 seconds. We do the procedure. Mom nodded, crying. Okay, okay. Her hand shook as she signed the consent form. Blue hospital pen, barely legible signature. Timestamp 7:52 a.m. Dr. Callahan rushed the paperwork to surgical prep. Mom collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, the account I'd labeled Future Home Fund. Balance $135,482.16. 7 years. Every overtime shift. Every bonus. Every dollar James and I should have spent on honeymoon, furniture, our life. I started the transfer. James appeared beside me. Must have followed from home. What are you doing? I told him. He pulled me into his arms. We'll figure it out. I was already doing the math. The surgery cost $240,000. I'd just transferred $135,000. I needed $105,000 more. The next 4 hours were a blur of phone calls from hospital hallways. My 401k administrator. Early withdrawal before age 59 carries a 10% penalty. That's $6,500 you'll lose. I said process it anyway. The personal loan officer. I can approve $40,000 at 8.9% interest. You'll need proof of employment. I gave her my hospital ID. She said she'd have an answer by end of business day. I hung up, called my supervisor. I need to use FMLA starting immediately. My father had a stroke. She was kind, sympathetic. Of course. You have up to 12 weeks. Fill out the paperwork when you can. I knew 12 weeks wouldn't be enough, but it was a start. The loan approval came at 4:52 p.m., $40,000. First payment due, April 1st. James asked me one more time, "Are you sure?" I looked through the surgical suite window. Dad had been in surgery for 9 hours already. Doctors moving fast, controlled chaos. It's him or the house, I said. I choose him. I signed the loan documents electronically. I didn't know I was choosing wrong. While I was bankrupting our future, I texted my sister. Dad's in surgery, stroke, it's bad. Can you come? Her response came 20 minutes later. OMG, Mom just told me about Dad. Is he okay? I typed back. In surgery now, critical, please come. Dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I have a sponsored post deadline today, babe. The brand is really strict about timing, sending all my prayers. I stared at the screen. Olivia, he might die. Don't say that. He's going to be fine. I'll come visit when he's awake, okay? Love you. Keep me posted. Prayer hands emojis, hearts, exclamation points. I put my phone away. Hour 9 of surgery. Mom went home. I need to rest properly. Pray properly. She left. James brought me his phone charger and coffee. You're not alone, he said. I looked around the empty waiting room. Just me and one other family across the way. I felt very, very alone. Surgery ended at 2:18 a.m. 14 hours. Dr. Callahan came out, exhausted. Surgical mask pulled down. But something in his eyes looked good. He made it. The procedure worked beautifully. Now we wait to see how much function returns. I asked the only question that mattered. Will he walk again? If he fights, Dr. Callahan said, and if someone fights with him, someone who knows what they're doing. He looked directly at me. Patients with strong medical advocacy recover better. The data is clear. I called Mom at 2:33 a.m. He's alive. Surgery worked. They're moving him to neuro ICU. You should come in the morning. She said she'd be there at 9. She arrived at 2:15 p.m. I'd been at his bedside since 6 that morning. Hadn't left the ICU. I was learning. If you want something done, you do it yourself. The ICU recliner became my home. Fake brown leather, always slightly damp from sanitizer. One armrest broken and taped. Small blood stain near the headrest from whoever was there before me. I slept there, night after night. Week 1, I used my FMLA leave. Stayed overnight. Learned the nurses' names. Learned the rhythms of ICU. The beeps. The alarms. The quiet panic when something goes wrong. Night 11, a nurse I didn't know came in at 1 a.m. Saw me curled in the chair. "You family?" I nodded. "You've been here every night." I checked the logs. "Yes." She adjusted Dad's IV. Professional. Efficient. "Most people can't handle more than 3 nights in ICU. She looked at me. "You doing okay?" I wasn't, but I said, "I'm fine." She didn't believe me. "You need anything, ask. We see people like you, the ones who stay." She paused at the door. Not many, though. Week 2, I realized FMLA wasn't going to be enough. Dad's recovery was going to take months. I couldn't work full-time and be his medical advocate. Someone needed to understand the protocols, ask the right questions, make the informed decisions when things went sideways. Mom was too panicked. Olivia was. Olivia. I wrote the email from the ICU Family Lounge at 3 a.m. "Dear Director Paulson, I am writing to inform you that I must resign from my position as RN coordinator, effective immediately. After using 2 weeks of FMLA leave to care for my father following his severe stroke, it has become clear that his recovery will require long-term family medical advocacy beyond the scope of FMLA's 12-week provision. This decision is not made lightly. However, my father's life depends on decisions I am uniquely qualified to make. Thank you for your understanding. Annabelle Bennett Michael." Sent from iPhone, Mass General Hospital. I quit my career. $85,000 a year. 3 years of building credibility. Gone. For him. Week 3, Dad was stable enough to transfer to the step-down unit. Progressive care. Less intensive than ICU, but he still needed monitoring. I followed. The step-down unit had a different visitor sign-in policy. Stricter. Day 16, I noticed the logbook went back weeks. I flipped through it while waiting for the nurse. My signature. My signature. Blank. Blank. Mom's signature. Blank. My signature. Never Olivia's. I asked the unit clerk, "Does this show everyone who visits?" She nodded. "We're strict about it for infection control." I looked at the pattern. Me. Every single day. Mom. Maybe every third day. My sister. Not once. The clerk said quietly, "Some families can't handle hospitals. Too hard," I thought. Or they just don't try. Week 4, Dad opened his eyes for the first time since surgery. Really opened them. Focused. I was right there, holding his hand. He looked at me, tried to speak. I leaned close. "Dad? It's Annabelle. You're okay. You're safe." He whispered something. I couldn't hear. I put my ear right next to his mouth. "Where's Olivia?" My heart stopped. I pulled back, looked at his face. He was serious, waiting for an answer. "She's not here, Dad. I'm here. I've been here since day 1. His eyes closed again. I walked to the bathroom, locked the door, cried for 15 minutes. Week 4 was also when Mom visited during one of Dad's complications. He'd had an accident overnight. Incontinence. The nurses were swamped. I was helping change the sheets. Mom walked in, stopped in the doorway, hand over her nose. "Annabelle, can't the staff do that?" I kept working, pulling away the soiled linens. "They're busy with 8 other patients. I know how to do this." She backed toward the door. "It smells terrible in here." I'd been sleeping 20 feet from medical waste bins for 4 weeks straight. I said nothing. She signed the visitor log. 2:14 p.m. Signed out 12 minutes later. 2:26 p.m. The nurse who'd been helping me caught my eye after Mom left. Said nothing. Didn't need to. That night, Dad spiked a fever. 103.6. The rapid response team rushed in. I held his hand while they worked. For the first time in a month, he squeezed back. Weak. But there. He was fighting. I thought, he knows I'm here. That has to matter. I was wrong about what would matter later. Week 5, Dad transferred to Spalding Rehabilitation in Cambridge. Acute inpatient rehab. The final phase. He was doing physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, learning to walk again, talk again, be himself again. Different facility, new visitor logs. I followed him there too. The recliner in the family lounge became my new bed. James visited when he could. 2:45 a.m. between surgical shifts. He'd bring coffee. Sit with me in the empty lounge. We didn't talk much. Didn't need to. He'd just be there until his pager went off at 4:30. I'll be back tomorrow night, he'd say. He always was. One night, a resident doing late rounds recognized James. Dr. Michael? What are you doing at Spalding at 3 a.m.? James gestured to me, supporting my wife. The resident looked at me with new understanding. You're married to a pediatric surgeon and you're doing this alone? James corrected him quietly. She's not alone, but her family is. Day 42, March 22nd, 2024. Discharge day, 6 weeks, 3 facilities, 14 days neuro ICU at Mass General, 14 days step-down unit, 14 days acute rehab at Spalding, 42 consecutive nights. Dr. Callahan reviewed the discharge papers. 85% function recovery. This is extraordinary for NIHSS 18, Doug. You beat the odds. Dad smiled, grateful. He could walk with minimal limp. His speech was maybe 95% normal. Left hand had full function back. A miracle, everyone said. Dr. Callahan turned to me, shook my hand. You saved his life, Annabelle. That protocol decision was risky. You greenlit it anyway. Then you stayed. He gestured to a folder. 42 consecutive days across 3 facilities. Patients with this level of advocacy recover better. The medical literature is clear. Mom beamed. We're a strong family, Andrew. We pulled together. Dr. Callahan looked at the visitor logs in his hand, looked at Mom, said nothing. But I saw him see. I packed up 42 days of my life from that rehab room. A nurse I'd gotten to know slipped me a note. You were here every night, all 3 facilities. We noticed. We told Dr. Callahan. Your father is lucky. I folded the note into my wallet. Proof I was there. Proof I mattered. Proof this happened. I'd need it later. Easter dinner was the first time I understood they were rewriting this story. April 2024. Extended family gathered at my parents' house. Dad was home, doing well with the outpatient physical therapy, walking, talking, almost back to normal. Aunt Rachel asked, Trish, how did you manage those awful weeks? Mom smiled, dabbed her eyes with a napkin. We pulled together as a family. Douglas fought so hard. The doctors were miraculous. And Olivia's prayers? She looked at my sister. Her daily calls kept our spirits up. I was standing in the kitchen doorway, 10 feet away, washing dishes. Nobody looked at me. Uncle Pete asked, what about the cost? I heard stroke treatments are insanely expensive. Mom waved her hand, dismissive. We managed. Faith and family, Pete, that's what gets you through. Nobody mentioned $240,000. Nobody mentioned 42 nights. Nobody mentioned my name. I kept washing dishes. James caught my eye from the living room, mouthed, You okay? I nodded. I was lying. Something was happening. The story was being written, and I wasn't in it. May brought Olivia's Instagram post, a carousel. Professional photos from one of her 3 total visits to Dad, post-discharge, at the house. She was hugging him in the living room, ring light reflection visible in the window behind them. The caption: "The last 3 months tested our family like never before. Dad's stroke was the scariest moment of our lives, but watching him fight back has taught me so much about resilience and faith. I prayed every single day, called every morning to check on him. Mom and Dad's love for each other pulled them through the darkest times. Today, he walked without his cane. Miracles are real, you guys. So grateful for this man and the strength he's shown us. Family is everything. Hashtag family first. Hashtag miracle recovery. Hashtag stroke survivor. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag faith over fear. Hashtag daddy's girl." 18,234 likes. 847 comments. Top comment: "You're such an amazing daughter. Your parents are so lucky." 1,200 likes on that comment alone. I closed Instagram, opened my bank app instead. Personal loan balance: $37,680. I'd been making $840 payments every month. While unemployed. Alone. June. Dad was well enough to go back to church. Same church Dr. Callahan attended. The pastor asked Dad to share his testimony. Dad stood at the pulpit, still moving a bit slowly, but strong, confident. "I stand before you today by the grace of God. 4 months ago, I couldn't stand at all. Couldn't speak. Couldn't remember my own name." The congregation listened, silent, attentive. I wouldn't be here without God's mercy and my family's love. My wife never lost faith. My daughter's prayers lifted me up every single day. I'm blessed beyond measure. Everyone stood, applauded. I stayed seated in the back row. Dr. Callahan, 3 rows ahead, turned around. Our eyes met. He'd read the visitor logs. He knew. After the service, he caught up to me in the parking lot. "Beautiful testimony." Pause. Though I remember the recovery story a little differently. Dad laughed uncomfortably nearby. Mom steered him toward the car. Fast. Dr. Callahan squeezed my shoulder. "The truth doesn't change just because the story does, Annabelle." I held on to those words. Walking to our car, James said quietly, "He didn't mention you once." "I know. Not once, Annabelle. 42 days and you didn't exist in his story." "I know. This isn't okay." "I know." July 4th. Family barbecue. Dad walking with barely any limp now. Speech perfect. You'd never know he'd nearly died 4 months ago. Cousin Beth pulled me aside by the drink cooler. "Anna, I heard you basically lived at the hospital. Like, literally slept there." I nodded. 42 nights. 3 different facilities. Her eyes went wide. "Jesus, that's..." Mom appeared, handed me lemonade. "Annabelle exaggerates sometimes, Beth. We all took turns. It was a team effort." "Right, honey." She smiled at me. Beth looked confused. I said nothing. Mom laughed lightly. "You're so dramatic sometimes, Annabelle. Always have been." She walked away. Beth whispered to me, "But you really were there every night, right?" "Every night," I said. "I have the visitor logs to prove it." She looked at me, then at my mother across the yard. "That's fucked up." "Yeah," I said. "It is." James found me sitting in our car 20 minutes later, just staring at nothing. "Want to leave?" I shook my head. "Not yet. I need to see how far this goes." He squeezed my hand. "They're erasing you, Annabelle." "They're my parents." "Exactly." I still didn't understand. Not completely, but I was starting to. Late August. I took 3 pregnancy tests. All positive. 2 pink lines. Clear as day. I showed James. He cried. Happy tears. "We're going to be parents." I cried too. Different tears. Relief. Hope. Fear. Do you think, I whispered, this might make them see me? He looked at me, didn't answer, but I saw the doubt. I know what you're going to say, but maybe being grandparents will be different. Maybe they'll. He held me. Annabelle, I just want to try. One more time. He didn't argue, but that night, he opened his laptop, started creating folders. Medical records, Douglas Bennett. Financial records, stroke treatment. Visitor logs, all facilities. I asked what he was doing. If you're going to give them another chance, he said, I'm coming prepared. Because if they hurt you again, they need to know exactly what they did. Early November, Mom called. Annabelle, hi, sweetheart. Voice bright, warm. I'm calling with good news. We're hosting Thanksgiving this year. Oh, that's great. Your father's doing so well, and Olivia just got engaged to the most wonderful man. We want everyone together to celebrate. Silence. Will you come? It would mean so much to your father. I looked at James. He was shaking his head. No. Yes, I said. We'll be there. I hung up, put my hand on my belly. 15 weeks now. Small bumps starting to show under loose clothes. I have to try, I told James. For her. Our daughter. One more time. The week before Thanksgiving, I had an OB appointment. Ultrasound confirmed 15 weeks. Heartbeat strong. Due date early June 2025. The tech moved the wand across my belly. There's your baby. 15 weeks. Perfect. The screen showed a tiny human. Arms, legs, a face. James gripped my hand. She's beautiful. I watched our daughter move on the screen. Thought about my parents, about second chances, about how people say grandparent love is different, unconditional. I'm telling them Thursday, I said. The tech printed 3 copies of the ultrasound photo. I put one in my wallet, one in James's, one in an envelope with a onesie I'd bought. White, tiny. Grandma's little miracle embroidered in pink thread. I practiced in the mirror. Different versions. Too formal. Too casual. Finally settled on simple. You're going to be grandparents. I put the envelope in a gift bag with tissue paper. Pink and white. Thanksgiving was in 4 days. I thought, this is it. This is when everything changes. I was right, just not how I imagined. November 28th, 2024. Thanksgiving. We left our apartment in Cambridge at 11:30 a.m. 20-minute drive to my parents' house in Lexington. James drove. I held the gift bag on my lap, tissue paper rustling every time he turned a corner. You don't have to do this, he said. We can turn around right now, have Thanksgiving with my parents instead. I looked at the bag. I want to do this. I want them to know about their grandchild before I decide if they get to be grandparents. He nodded. His laptop bag was in the back seat. All the folders, all the proof. I have everything, he said. Bank transfers, medical records, visitor logs from all 3 facilities, just in case. You think we'll need it? I think if they try anything, they should know we have proof. We pulled into the driveway at 11:52 a.m. 3 cars already there. Olivia's white BMW, Uncle Pete's truck, Dr. Callahan's Subaru, Dr. Callahan. I hadn't known he was coming. I felt incrementally safer. James squeezed my knee. I'm right here, the whole time. We walked to the door. I was carrying their grandchild. They didn't know yet. Mom opened the door. You're here. Hugged me, quick. 4 seconds. Turned to Olivia, who'd arrived just before us. Long hug. Swaying. My beautiful girl. 12 seconds. James's hand found my back. Protective. Dad appeared from the kitchen. Saw me. Smiled. Polite. Distant. Annabelle. James. Good to see you. Saw Olivia. Face lit up completely. There's my shining star. Pulled her into a hug. kissed her forehead. I stood in the entryway, holding a gift bag with his grandchild's first photo inside. Invisible already, Mom directed everyone to seats. I made place cards. I found mine. Seat 14, far end of the table. Annabelle and James. Olivia's card was at seat 2, right next to Dad. Olivia and Connor, but next to me, Dr. Andrew and Helen Callahan. I'd be sitting next to Dad's neurologist, someone who knew the truth. James saw it too, whispered, "Lucky placement." Dr. Callahan came over, shook James's hand. "Good to see you both. How are you feeling, Annabelle?" I almost said 15 weeks pregnant. Caught myself. "I'm okay, thanks for asking." He smiled. "Doctors can tell." The meal started. Turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, green beans, small talk. Dad stood to say grace. "Dear Lord, we thank you for this meal, for health restored, for family bonds, for Olivia's joyous engagement. We are blessed. Amen." Health restored, like it happened by magic, by prayer, not by $240,000 and 42 nights. Plates circulated. Aunt Rachel asked, "Doug, you look wonderful. The recovery was remarkable." Dad smiled. "God's grace and family strength. That's what pulled me through." I stabbed a green bean. James's hand found my knee under the table. Warning, not yet. Uncle Pete, a few drinks in. Seriously, what was the turning point? Dad set down his fork. "Determination, Pete. And Patricia." He looked at Mom with love. "Never left my side." Mom dabbed her eyes. "We fought together. Both girls were such blessings." Generic plural. Olivia jumped in. "I FaceTimed every single morning, sometimes twice a day. I couldn't be there physically because of work, but spiritually, I was so present." Cousin Beth asked, "What about you, Annabelle?" The table went quiet. Mom spoke before I could. "Annabelle helped too, of course. We all did our parts. It was truly a family effort." Dr. Callahan shifted beside me. I said nothing. The cranberry sauce on my plate sat untouched. Too sweet. Cloying. Like the lies. Dr. Callahan cleared his throat. "Actually, the recovery was remarkable because of the early intervention." Mom interrupted. "Anyone need more wine?" Held up the bottle toward Dr. Callahan. The moment passed, but I saw something in Dr. Callahan's eyes. He was done staying quiet. Conversation shifted to Olivia's engagement. She held out her hand. The diamond caught every light in the room. Connor proposed at Menton, on the waterfront. He had a photographer hiding. Got the whole moment. She showed photos on her phone. Professional. Perfect. Mom reached over, squeezed Olivia's hand. "We're planning a June wedding. Harborview Yacht Club, 200 guests." Dad raised his glass. "To my daughter and her wonderful fiancé. We couldn't be more proud." I thought about my wedding. The $3,000 check. The clearance dress. James's hand tightened on my knee. Mom noticed my empty champagne flute. "Annabelle, no champagne? Are you feeling all right?" My hand went to my belly. Instinct. I caught myself. Moved it to my water glass. "I'm driving later." The gift bag was still in my purse. The ultrasound, the onesie. The secret. Dessert cleared. Olivia stood up. Connor beside her. Both giggling. Slightly drunk on champagne and attention. "So we have something exciting to share." Mom already knew. Clearly planned. "We want to have our engagement party here, in 2 weeks. Just intimate family." Everyone clapped. Mom stood. "And I already talked to the caterer who did tonight's dinner. She's available." Something in me snapped. Small, quiet, but it snapped. I spoke without thinking. "Wait. Mom, didn't you tell Aunt Rachel last week you couldn't afford a caterer, that you'd made everything yourself?" The table went silent. Aunt Rachel's eyes went wide. Mom's face flushed. Annabelle, Dad's voice. Cold. Sharp. That's enough. I looked at him. I'm just asking how. I said enough. He stood, face red, shaking, the rage I'd seen before, when he was caught, when the carefully constructed story cracked. You want to know how? He pointed at me, fingers shaking. You want to question us in front of our guests? Mom put her hand on his arm. Douglas, please. He shook her off, looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Contempt. Pure contempt. Annabelle, get out. I froze. What? Get out of this house. He took a step toward me. James stood up beside me, protective. Tonight is for real family. Dad spat the words. Not someone like you who questions us, who makes us look bad, who... Douglas, she didn't mean... Mom tried. He ignored her, kept his eyes on me. Cold. Final. Not someone like you. The words hit me like a slap. Physical pain. 16 people watching. Extended family. Dr. Callahan, James. I stood up, shaking, humiliated, ready to leave, ready to run, ready to disappear like I always had. James's hand caught mine, steady, strong. Wait, he said quietly. He stood up, slowly, raised his water glass. His voice was ice cold. Before she goes, let's toast the woman who made tonight possible. The sound of my mother's wine glass shattering on the floor echoed through the room. Crystal exploding, red wine spreading across hardwood, Mom's hand shaking, empty. My father's face drained of all color, because in that moment they realized James wasn't just defending me, he knew everything, and he was about to burn their perfect family lie to the ground. James stood there, glass raised, looking directly at my father. Actually, Doug, before you throw Annabelle out of your house, I think we should make one more toast. His voice was surgeon calm, the voice he uses before cutting into a child's heart. Dad's mouth opened. James, this is inappropriate. To the woman, James continued, louder, clearer. Who made tonight, and your survival, possible? He reached into his bag, pulled out his laptop, held up an HDMI cable. Connor, you're closest to the TV. Mind helping me connect this? Connor, confused, did it. The TV screen flickered, changed to mirror James's laptop. A folder appeared. Label visible to all 16 guests. Douglas Bennett, The Truth. Mom whispered, "What is this?" James looked at her, at Dad, at me. "This is what your daughter did while you were dying." He opened the first folder. Financial records. Bank statements filled the screen. My name on everyone. Dad tried to stand. "This is completely..." Dr. Callahan's voice. Quiet but firm. "Sit down, Doug. Let him speak." Dad sat. James pulled up the first document. Bank transfer receipt. February 8th, 2024. Annabelle's savings account. Future home fund. Balance. $135,482. 7 years of saving. Click. Transfer confirmation appeared. Transfer to Massachusetts General Hospital. Patient, Douglas Bennett. Amount, $135,482. Date, February 8th, 2024. Time, 9:17 a.m. He looked at Dad. 3 hours after your stroke, Doug. Uncle Pete whispered, "Jesus Christ." James clicked again. Early 401k withdrawal. Annabelle Michael, age 30. Amount, $65,000. Penalty, $6,500. Money she'll never get back. Click. Personal loan. Borrower, Annabelle Michael. Amount, $40,000. Interest rate, 8.9%. He turned to Dad, voice colder. Total cost of the experimental protocol that saved your life, $240,000. Every cent paid by your daughter. He paused. Let it land. The one you just told to get out. Olivia's voice. Small. Confused. Wait. I thought. Mom said insurance covered everything? Mom's face crumbled. James turned to Olivia. Not cruel. Factual. Insurance covered standard treatment. Your father needed experimental protocol. Your sister paid it. All of it. Did anyone tell you that? Olivia looked at Mom. At Dad. No. James opened another folder. Medical records. 3 PDFs appeared. Mass General Neuro ICU, visitor logs. Mass General Progressive Care, visitor logs. Spalding Rehabilitation, visitor logs. He opened the first, scrolled slowly. February 9th, Annabelle Michael, overnight stay. Scrolled. February 10th, Annabelle Michael, overnight stay. Scrolled. February 11th, every line, same name. He opened the second file, step-down unit. Annabelle Michael, Annabelle Michael, Annabelle Michael. Third file, rehab, same pattern. He scrolled to the bottom. March 22nd, 42 consecutive days, 3 facilities. He searched the document. Olivia Bennett. One entry appeared, highlighted. March 18th, Spalding Rehabilitation. Sign in, 2:14 p.m. Sign out, 3:01 p.m. Duration, 47 minutes. He looked at Olivia. One visit in 42 days, while your sister never left? Olivia was crying. I didn't know. I thought Mom said they were taking turns. She looked at Mom. Betrayal dawning. James's voice, softer. Your mother lied to you too, Olivia. You need to know the truth. He closed the laptop slightly, looked around the table. You want to know what else 42 days cost? Quieter now, more dangerous. Her job. RN coordinator. $85,000 a year. She resigned to be your medical advocate, Doug. Because your recovery required someone with expertise making decisions your wife was too panicked to make. He looked at Mom. She was sobbing. Her house. We were going to buy our first home this spring. That's gone. Her retirement. That penalty? She'll never recover it. Her financial stability. She's still making loan payments. $840 a month. Pause. And tonight, you told her to get out. Told her she's not real family. Dad tried to speak. We didn't ask her to. Yes, you did. James's voice cracked like a whip. First time he'd raised it. Your wife looked at her in that ER and begged Annabelle to make the choice. And Annabelle said yes. She chose to save you. He looked at Dad. And you just threw her out. Dr. Callahan stood up. I think I should speak now. All eyes turned. Dr. Callahan looked at Dad. Professional, clinical. Doug, you had an NIHSS score of 18, severe. The kind of stroke that kills or permanently disables. Standard treatment offered you 40 to 50% recovery. Maybe, more likely, nursing home care. He paused. The experimental protocol I recommended offered 80 to 85% recovery, but it cost $240,000 and carried an 18% risk of fatal complications. He looked at Mom, kind but honest. Patricia, you were legally next of kin. You had the right to sign consent forms, but you were panicked. You couldn't process the medical information. Mom nodded, crying. You looked at Annabelle and asked, what should we do? He turned to me, and Annabelle made an informed medical recommendation in 90 seconds. She saved your life with that decision. Dad tried to interrupt. Andrew, we appreciate. Dr. Callahan held up his hand. Doug. Stop. I'm not finished. He took off his glasses, cleaned them. I checked on you regularly across all 3 facilities, not just medical checks. I was concerned. You're my friend. He put his glasses back on. Every single time I visited, early morning, late night, weekends, Annabelle was there. Not visiting, living there. Night 4, she was researching therapy protocols at 2 a.m. Night 12, she was doing wound care the nurses didn't have time for. Night 28, when you spiked that fever, she held your hand for 7 hours while we worked. He looked around the table. I've been a neurologist for 30 years. Annabelle's advocacy is the highest I've ever witnessed. He picked up his phone, pulled up something. I checked the visitor logs before discharge. 42 days, 42 overnight stays. Annabelle Michael, everyone. Patricia. He looked at Mom. You visited 14 times total. Average stay, 38 minutes. Olivia visited once. Post-discharge, 47 minutes. Connor, Olivia's fiancé, spoke up. I don't understand. Olivia told me she was there constantly. Dr. Callahan shook his head. No, there were no rotations. There was Annabelle. That's the truth. Olivia sobbed. Mom, you told me. Mom couldn't answer. Dr. Callahan looked at Doug. Not as friend, as doctor. I need to say this clearly. Deep breath. Without Annabelle's recommendation, you would have died. Or you'd be in a nursing home with severe paralysis, unable to speak, requiring 24-hour care. Pause. Instead, you're here, walking, speaking, hosting Thanksgiving. That reality exists because of one person's medical knowledge, financial sacrifice, and 42 days of advocacy. He turned to me. Annabelle saved your life, Doug. Literally, medically. That's documented fact. Back to Dad. Voice harder. And tonight, you told her to get out. Told her she's not real family. The weight of those words. That's unconscionable. The room was silent. 16 witnesses. Dad tried to stand. Stumbled. Mom caught his arm. He looked at me. Really looked at me. For the first time all night. Too late. I stood up. My voice came out quieter than expected, but clear. You want to know what 42 nights looks like? I looked at Dad. Night 1. You couldn't remember my name. You looked at me and said, Nurse. I said, Dad, it's Annabelle. You said, who? My voice got stronger. Night 14. You had a nightmare. Screamed for 20 minutes. I climbed into your hospital bed, held you, saying, you are my sunshine. You stopped screaming, fell asleep in my arms. Mom was sobbing. Night 28. You spiked that fever. You were delirious, kept calling for Olivia. Where's Olivia? Over and over, I was right there, holding your hand. I'd been there for 4 weeks straight. You wanted her. I looked at Olivia. She was destroyed. I don't blame you, Liv. You didn't know. They lied to you too. I looked at Mom and Dad. But you knew. You both knew. And you erased me anyway. I picked up my purse. $240,000. 7 years of saving. Every overtime shift. Every dollar that should have gone to our life. Gone. To save you. I looked at Dad. I didn't ask you to pay me back. I didn't ask for a thank you. I just wanted you to say my name when you told the story. My voice broke slightly. I caught it. You told church I was one of the girls who prayed. You told extended family we all took turns. You told Olivia I exaggerate. I looked at the table, at everyone watching. I gave up my career, my house, my retirement, 42 nights, my future. I pointed at Dad. For him. I reached into my purse. Dad tried to speak. Annabelle, we're grateful. I held up my hand. You did realize. You knew exactly what you were doing. I pulled out the gift bag. Cream-colored, pink ribbon. And now you need to know what you're losing. I pulled out the onesie, white, tiny. Grandma's little miracle in pink thread. Mom gasped. I pulled out the ultrasound photo, unfolded it. 15 weeks pregnant, due early June. I placed them on the table. This is your grandchild. Silence. I came here tonight to tell you, to share this, to give you one last chance to choose me, to see me. I looked at the onesie. I was going to ask you to be grandparents. My hand went to my belly. But you don't get that now. Mom reached for the photo. I pulled it back. No, you don't get to touch this. You don't get to be grandma. You don't get her. Olivia sobbed. Annabelle, please. I looked at my sister. You're welcome in her life, Liv. When you're ready. But them? I looked at Mom and Dad. Never. I picked up the onesie. The photo. You would have been grandparents. Voice steady, clear, final. Would have been. Past tense. Because after tonight, you'll never meet this child. You'll never know her name. You'll never hold her. I put them back in the gift bag. Back in my purse. She'll grow up knowing what family actually means. And you won't be part of that. I looked at each of them. Mom, Dad. For the last time as their daughter. I saved your life. $240,000. 42 days. My career. My future. I made the decision that lets you stand here. Walking. Talking. Being you. My voice didn't waver. And you told me to get out. Told me I'm not real family. Deep breath. You're right. I'm not someone like you. I don't erase people who save my life. I picked up my coat. James helped me into it. You taught me what family isn't. Now I get to build what family should be. I put my hand on my belly. Protected her. Chosen. Honest. Safe. Real. I turned toward the door. James beside me. Dr. Callahan stood. Solidarity. Dad found his voice. Broken. Annabelle, please wait. I stopped. Didn't turn around. You told me to get out. So I am. Permanently. We didn't know about the baby. I looked back. One last time. That's the point, Dad. You threw me out before you knew. You would have thrown out your own grandchild. I walked to the door. Goodbye. The door closed behind us. James, me, Dr. Callahan. Cold November air. 42 degrees. My breath visible. Dr. Callahan walked us to the car. I should have said something months ago. I saw them erase you. I'm sorry. I shook my head. You spoke tonight. When it mattered. He hugged me. You saved him. Not because he deserved it. Because you're better than he is. Through the window we could see shapes moving. Voices raised. The perfect family imploding. James opened my car door. Let's go home. I got in. Buckled the seatbelt carefully across my belly. We drove away from my parents' house for the last time. Mile 3, I started crying. Silent tears. James held my hand. Drove. Mile 7. I really thought the baby would change them. I know. Mile 12. Was I wrong? To cut them off? To take away their grandchild? He pulled over. Looked at me. Do you want her to grow up watching them erase you? I put my hand on my belly. No. Then you did right. We pulled into our apartment at 9:34 p.m. Thanksgiving destroyed. Family destroyed. But I felt lighter, like I'd been holding my breath for 31 years. You okay? James asked. I nodded. Hand on belly. I'm protecting her now. That's all that matters. That night, the messages started. Mom, 11:52 p.m. Annabelle, please answer. We need to talk. This is a misunderstanding. Mom, 12:14 a.m. You're being dramatic. We love you. Please. Dad, 8:23 a.m. Your mother is devastated. Call us. Olivia, 10:37 a.m. Anna, please, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Please don't shut me out. I want to be in the baby's life. Please. Aunt Rachel, 2:18 p.m. I had no idea what they did. They lied to all of us. I believe you. 3 days. 47 unread messages. James asked, do you want to respond? I looked at my phone. Then at the ultrasound photo on our fridge. No. They had 31 years to choose me. They chose lies every time. I selected their numbers, blocked them. Mom, Dad. James asked, "What about Olivia?" I hesitated. Later. Maybe, when I'm ready. Blocked her too. The unread messages disappeared. It felt like freedom. 15 months later. March 2026. Our daughter took her first steps. Ava Grace Michael, born June 8th, 2025. 9 months old. Early walker like her father. She stood up from the couch, wobbled, took one step, two, three, fell into James's arms. He was crying, filming. Did you see that? I was crying too. Different tears. Joy. James sent the video to his parents. Grandma Joan and Grandpa Ted. Ava walked. Joan FaceTimed within seconds, crying. Our granddaughter. I watched Joan's face. Pure love, pure presence. She'd never met my parents. Never needed to. She was Ava's real grandma. The doorbell rang. Package. Children's book from Aunt Rachel. Note inside. For Ava, from family who sees you. Always. Extended family had chosen sides. They'd chosen me. Joan came over twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Held Ava. Sang to her. Taught her pat a cake. One Thursday she asked, "Have your parents tried to reach out?" I showed her my blocked list. They tried for the first month. They stopped around January. Joan kissed Ava's head. Good. She deserves grandparents who chose to be here from day one. Ted walked in. We're the lucky ones. We get to know her from the beginning. He was right. Ava would never know absence as normal. She'd only know presence, love, consistency. Late March, my old hospital unit threw a baby shower. 9 months late. But I'd needed time. 15 people in our apartment, nurses, doctors, unit clerks. They brought diapers, love, stories about the shifts we'd worked, the codes we'd run. Dr. Callahan came, held Ava. This is what family looks like. He meant everyone in the room. Someone asked, "Do your parents know about her?" I smiled. They know I was pregnant. They don't know her name, her face, her first word, her first steps. Pause. They never will. Nobody argued. They understood. That evening, I rocked Ava to sleep. 9 months old, heavy in my arms. Perfect. I sang the song, "You Are My Sunshine." I thought about night 14, when I sang it to Dad, when he didn't know me. I thought I would do it again. The money, the nights, the choice. Not because he deserved it, because I was capable of it, because I loved him. But Ava? Ava will never have to prove her worth through sacrifice. She'll never earn love by erasing herself. She'll know what I learned too late. Family is who shows up, who sees you, who stays. Not who shares your DNA, not who claims you when convenient, but who chooses you every single day. I put Ava in her crib. She sighed. Safe. Loved. Downstairs, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I knew who it was. I deleted the notification without reading. Walked back upstairs. Stood in Ava's doorway. Her nursery. Soft yellow walls. Her name above the crib. Ava Grace Michael. Grace. The grace I gave my father. The grace he didn't return. The grace my daughter will never have to earn. My daughter will never know what it's like to be invisible. She'll know what it's like to be chosen. Every single day. That's the miracle they'll never see. And I'm okay with that.